So, if you're wondering why at the age of 31 I'm having so many blockages and so many health issues, I was on a lot of medications as a child. I was also forced to take medications I wasn't prescribed. I was also given food poisoning and other weird illnesses. I also lived in the woods. I've been around a lot of dangerous people, including my mother. My own roommate has a colostomy bag. One of my friends has a colostomy bag, and they take pills that make everything slide out of them. So their microbiome doesn't create any type of bacteria that's meant for pushing or for moving bowel movements because they take so many pills that make everything liquid that just slide right out into a colostomy bag. So my microbiome was most likely fucked up too. I got half of the chunk out, so I'm feeling a little better, but the contractions are still there. And this is going to happen again, I know, because this is my 6th time this year having to do this. And one time at work, I was on the line with the ambulance about to have them come when my coworker came with one of these things, and then I used it. And then about 30 minutes had passed. Then the ambulance came, and I waved them away, saying I'm fine now, what they weren't too happy about. But the emergency ended. They wanted me to get checked out anyways. I told them I couldn't. They got mad, but they weren't. I told them, well, if you bring me to Wentworth Douglas, I'll go. And then they said, well, we can't do that. I said, well, now you're refusing to bring me to Wentworth Douglas, so that's your fault. But anyways, yeah, I've had that emergency ambulance called way too many times. And thanks to my mother and father, they think it's all fake. They think it's all just some mental illness, like I'm a hypochondriac. I could have a real blockage, be in extreme pain, my heart skipping beats, and they won't do anything until the doctor checks my heart rate and sees it's out of control from the contractions. I'm screaming in pain. They even tell me to be quiet in pain. Can't you be in pain a little quieter? I don't know if you've ever had a blockage where you literally having contractions that won't stop, getting closer, that are so painful they make you scream, but yeah. Having a blockage in your colon for a long period of time is extremely painful. So painful, it kills people. I met a guy, he lived in a half detox, half mental institution. It was called Bay Ridge Hospital, I think. Anyways, it's like 30 minutes out of, like, from Haverhill. It's not in Haverhill, but anyways, this is where the movie stars used to go. It takes Mass Health. They're the quickest. That's why they do a 7 to 10 day taper and they get you out of there. That's why the movie stars liked it. And they have the pictures of the movie stars meeting the staff. And there was a kid who lived there as well, and it was the only one you could smoke at left in Massachusetts because they were the only one privately owned by a billionaire family that had a son that was born disabled. Instead of taking care of their son, they put their son in a mental institution they built themselves called Bay Ridge Hospital. Literally, they built a whole hospital just so that their son could have a place to live. And the deal was that they would hand this hospital over to be used for other patients as long as their son could live there for the rest of his life. So his son could live in an institution. They literally built a millions-dollar building just to put their son away so they wouldn't have to deal with him. Their son died in his 40s of a colon blockage that none of the staff looked into, so he died on his bed. Yes, I got to meet the guy when I was going there for alcohol. And then a year later, I went there and he no longer was there. I asked the staff, he lives here. Did he finally get an apartment? No, they said no, he was supposed to live here for life. Then where is he? Well, he died just last month. We were all very sad about it. I go, really? I mean, I've been seeing him here every single visit for years now. He's been living here since I've been coming here. You're telling me that he died? Yeah, he finally died. And they even had a clipping of the death certificate thing in the newspaper. They clipped it out and hung it on the door with a rest in peace type thing, and everybody was sad about it, and a couple people were in trouble, but they didn't even get fired. These rich people built a whole hospital for their son and didn't even make sure the staff knew what they were doing. So their son died in his 40s of a blockage. And whenever I have a blockage like I do now, I think of that. I think of that disabled guy who was mentally retarded on Social Security that was living in a hospital for the rest of his life because he had $1 million parents, $1 billion parents that could build a hospital with one little fine print. My son gets to live here for life, can't leave the premises, never gets to leave. Staff members will have to bring him out. He's the only one allowed to go in the van with the staff members. And you have to let him smoke because he went in there at the age of 18. His very wealthy, rich, billionaire parents did not want to deal with him, so they built a big hospital and stuck him in it. And he died in his 40s of a blockage. And this is very researchable. Bay Ridge is built as privately owned. You were allowed to smoke. The reason for this is because a billionaire built it. There was a guy living there for for 30 years since it was built. Since the day it was built, this guy was living there until the day he died. And why did he die? Once again, neglect of a hospital. Oh, neglect of a hospital. They let a guy die of just a blockage because that was a mental institution and for drugs. And this guy lived there year round, every single year, so nobody paid any attention to him. He just blended in with the walls by that point. That's how sad this life is. These billionaires don't take responsibility. You know, I bet some of his relatives are still alive too, living in their 80s. How much you want to bet? He died in his 40s of a blockage, but his mother or father is probably still alive, living off those billions of dollars. Fucked up society we live in.